WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Scott Martin. Mississippi's state employees say they're tired of sitting back and waiting for more pay. It's been more than a decade since there was an across-the-board pay raise. Advocates say that part of that is a change in the state's budgeting process. But either way, they're fed up with struggling financially. Courtney Ann Jackson has more.
That chant, State Workers Matter, is a message this group has been trying to convey for years to lawmakers.
We have not had a raise in 13 years.
That prolonged waiting game has become frustrating for workers like Dexter Espos.
I read the Franklin quote, I ain't no psychiatrist, no doctor with degrees, but it didn't take a high IQ to see what you're doing to me.
When they reference 13 years without a raise, they're referring to an across-the-board raise signed by the governor.
Now we are ranked over $9,000 in annual salary behind states like Tennessee, Alabama, Louisiana, and Arkansas. That's saying something. And over 61% of our workers are making less or right at the average salary of over $35,000 a year.
Workers echo that disappointment in the pay scale.
Each and every time they tell you to go back to school, further your education. But when they say further your education, do they further your pay?
There have been some state workers who've gotten a raise in that 13-year span. Some individual agencies have found money within their budgets to give a hike in pay. And in 2014, there was a raise for around 4,500 workers, those making less than $30,000 a year. But workers say they're not even getting a cost of living adjustment.
That was Courtney Ann Jackson reporting. Now, the group that was rallying at the Capitol today did not include teachers in their stats because of the way the budgeting process works. Teachers do get a cost of living increase each year. Here at home, demolition or preservation? It's a big question surrounding a more than 100-year-old home in Columbus. Well, right now the decision is in a holding pattern. As our Jory Talley reports, the future of the home is at a standstill because there's a debate about its past.
This home was built in the early 1800s, but has been vacant for quite some time. Its prime has come and sadly gone. Now, its future is a subject of conversation.
It is old, but is it historically significant? And that's what the Department of Archives and History will have to determine. So, you know, at this point, it's we're looking at it. It's an eyesore. It's dangerous. Vandals have already gone in. They're stealing property out of it.
The Columbus Redevelopment Authority says their research shows the home is not registered as a historic landmark, which is why they had plans to move forward with demolition. CRA Board President John Acker says they believe they took all the right steps to do that, but it was recently presented to them that that might not be the case.
I think the biggest thing, the facts on this is this home was not in the deed, the property deed. There was no historical registry. So when we did our due diligence and our legal folks looked at it, they said, hey, there's nothing on the deed that says this has any historical significance. So that's what we went by.
Historian Rufus Ward says the house does, in fact, sit on the National Register of Historic Places.
Google and look up the National Register, look at the Burns Bottom Historic District, and this house will appear. It is on the National Register of Historic Places, and before any governmental body can do anything to harm it, they have to go through a permitting process with the State Department of Archives and History.
Ward says he hates to see any historic home torn down, but sometimes understands it's necessary. However, he thinks this home could be saved.
This is one of the oldest streets in town, and this is the last surviving antebellum home on this street. And if it were restored, even just cleaned up, it would be an asset and somebody would take it over.
Well, CRA is now working with the Mississippi Department of Archives and History to make sure that they're doing everything by the book. Acker says plans are on hold until the department gives them the green light. Well, time now to get a first look at our forecast with meteorologist Amanda Reynolds. And Amanda, another cold night out there.
Already starting to get a little bit chilly out there. Clear skies, 47 degrees. Those northwesterly winds going to continue through the overnight hours. Will drop down below freezing once again tonight, around 29 degrees. It'll continue to be very clear, very cold, and with that we'll have another chance for a freeze. Now, because of that, a freeze warning is now in effect for all of northeast Mississippi as well as much of northern Alabama. More on this and when we can see some warmth coming up in just a few minutes.
Bring back the warmth. All right, thanks, Amanda. Well, speaking of the colder temperatures, just like Amanda said, much of our viewing area is expected to be under a freeze warning as temperatures dip into the upper 20s overnight. Well, with the cold temperatures, what does it mean for our plants that are already blooming? Our Quentin Smith, he joins us live in the studio. He spoke with a landscaper to find out what to do. Hey, Quentin.
Yes, Scott, the start of spring is only a week away, but for many homeowners, their plants are already budding. And with this freeze that's expected, the cold air could hurt your plants if they're not protected. The staff at Smith Landscaping and the greenhouse are busy preparing for the upcoming freeze. The National Weather Service is expecting temperatures to range anywhere from 28 to 32 degrees for more than 3 hours. But while the workers say the low temps aren't too alarming, owner Alan Smith says he's still taking the necessary steps to protect his plants.
31, we don't know. It's really borderline. I think it's okay, but we're going to take some precautions.
With only a few days left until the springtime, Smith says many flowers are already starting to hit their peak. However, one big mistake he says many homeowners make is fertilizing their yards too soon, meaning it could be damaged if another cold burst hits.
Everybody's out on the first spring day, sometimes in February, and putting out fertilizer. That's way too early.
If the plants sit in the freezing cold temperatures unprotected for a long period of time, they can easily become damaged. So, to prevent that from happening, Smith has a few tips for homeowners.
If they've already bloomed, they're going to be fine. If they're in full bloom or putting out some really tender growth, and it's possible, just throw a bed sheet over them and they'll be good. If it's in full bloom and they can't bring it in, they can't get it up under a roof or a porch or something, just throw a sheet or a blanket if you got to. A sheet will be heavy enough, just anything to cover it.
Now, the freeze warning will be in effect from 1 until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Well, even though it's feeling like winter, spring not too far away, officially Tuesday at 11:15 a.m. it will be astronomical spring, but when will it feel like that? More details right after the break.
Your first alert forecast with meteorologist Amanda Reynolds.
By now, you've probably heard of the nor'easter that's impacting parts of the northeast U.S. This is what it looks like on satellite. The colors just show how cold the clouds are. So the brighter the colors, the colder the clouds. But notice that big low pressure system spiraling just off the coast. You can see it wrapping up tighter and tighter as we go forward in time. It's now beginning to die off as it moves away from the coast a little bit more. Here's what it looked like on radar. Notice areas of the northeast getting pounded, absolutely pounded by snow. Some areas of Boston seeing snowfall rates of up to 2 or 3 inches per hour. And you picture that over 10 or 12 hours, the numbers really start to rack up. And that's what the current observations are showing. This is courtesy of the National Weather Service office in Boston. Notice these red areas over 18 inches. Some areas have seen over 2 feet of snow just in the last 24 hours. Fortunately, that snow is a long, long way from here, even though we're still fairly chilly. But notice that nice, gorgeous sunset this evening over downtown Columbus and Tupelo. We got a pretty good view of it over in Vernon as well. We'll get to that in just a minute. But right here, right now in Vernon, again, nice clear skies, temperatures hanging out in the mid 40s for most of us, though a few areas already down into the 30s. There's that picture I mentioned. This was from Liz Guyton. You can see twilight, the orange sky and the blue sky just as the sun continues to set. So it was a pretty nice evening out there as well. It'll be a very cold evening for the rest of tonight. We'll be down into the upper 20s. Again, very clear, very cold, and we'll see yet another freeze likely. This will probably be the coldest night of the week. Again, as we mentioned earlier, that freeze warning in effect from 1 a.m. until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then we have a freeze watch for the day tomorrow, or for tomorrow night, so that's something to keep an eye on as well. Make sure you take care of those plants. So again, for the day tomorrow, we'll be in the mid 70s. Don't you wish? We'll be there soon enough. The mid 50s, around 57. There's where I got that 7 from. Plenty of sunshine, fairly cool as well. We'll keep those northwesterly breezes. Again, most of us going to see those temperatures hanging out in the 50s. But as I I mentioned, the 70s are not too far away. High pressure going to take over, and we'll start to see that southerly flow by Thursday. That will usher in some warmer weather, but it will also usher in the chance for more showers and storms not only Friday, but into the weekend as well. So here, looking at that 7-day forecast, there's those 70s I mentioned. Thursday will probably be right close to that 70-degree mark. Warmer Friday and Saturday before a little bit cooler air for Sunday. But again, the chance for showers and storms continues.
You're just overly excited about the 70s. That's all right. Thanks, Amanda. One area Girl Scout's living up to considerate and caring in her Girl Scout law while she delivers more than just cookies. We explain when we come back.
You're watching WCBI News at 10 with Scott Martin.
Welcome back, everyone. Amory's Public Library gets a major gift that could double with the community's help. Chicago resident and Amory native James Smith left $250,000 to the Amory Municipal Library in his will. Well, the money passed through his estate in Chicago to the Create Foundation in North Mississippi. Well, there's also an opportunity to double that gift through a challenge grant. If the community can raise $125,000, an additional $125,000 will be given through the fund.
We value our library. It's very important to our citizens. It's especially valuable to our young people. Several people are in and out of the library on a daily basis, whether that be, for books, for use of the internet, for reading the local paper. It's utilized by our community, and a donation like this means that utilization will continue, and we're really excited about what that means for the future.
Smith moved to Chicago in the 1940s and became a successful financial analyst. His mother lived in Amory and was a frequent patron of the library. Well, here's a sweet story. Residents of several area nursing homes are getting surprise gifts from a local Girl Scout. 10-year-old Kylie Hargrove has sold more than 1,700 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. A big accomplishment all in itself, but Kylie wanted to do more, and she took donations from her customers to use to brighten the lives of senior citizens. Well, today, Kylie and her mother made a surprise delivery of gifts, including calendars, puzzle books, and of course, Girl Scout cookies to residents and staff at an Amory nursing home. Kylie says she wanted to do something to bring joy to the lives of seniors.
Like people at the nursing home, like patients, some of them can't always see their families and stuff, so they get to get stuff and it might remind them of their family.
Kylie's goal is to sell 2,018 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. She'll be at Amory's Piggly Wiggly tomorrow and other businesses until Sunday's deadline. Well, coming up here, more from Hell State Hoops regarding their first game after the South Carolina loss from the SEC tournament. Robbie has that all next in sports.
Here's WCBI Sports with Robbie Donahoe.
Mississippi State back in the postseason with their men's hoops program for the first time in 6 years. Any postseason basketball is good basketball for a team that could only benefit from more time playing together, as the future is undeniably bright.
I think it's great, especially for a young team. You remember now, we don't have a senior. We don't have anybody who's ever played in postseason. This is a great experience. My good buddy Jamie Dixon, their team won it last year, and they returned this year, and I think really benefited from it. I've had teams in the past at Pitt. We went my second year, actually lost to Mississippi State in the second round, but then the following year went to the Sweet 16, the NCAA tournament. We went my third year at Northern Arizona. Our fourth year we went to the NCAA tournament. So I definitely think it's a plus leading up to the next year, especially when you have a lot of the group that's playing in that tournament returning the following year.
Well, a leading candidate has emerged in the Ole Miss men's basketball coaching search. That happens to be Middle Tennessee head coach Kermit Davis Jr. He's the guy to beat for the Rebels' head coaching opening, according to multiple reports and confirmed here at WCBI. Although the coaching search reportedly not yet completed, Davis told ESPNU during their NIT game this evening that he has made a decision on the Ole Miss job, but has not yet revealed the answer. You can go ahead and read between the lines on that one. We'll have to wait and see. Middle Tennessee did beat Vermont tonight, by the way. To Hail State hoops, the Bulldogs are eager to return to the court after their first loss of the season to South Carolina in the SEC tourney title game. State has turned the page quickly and have their sights set on their next game.
We turned it as soon as we left, but we knew that we had work to get done. So, I mean, it's nothing that we overlooked, but we still have things to get done and learn from our mistakes in that game.
I'm anxious to always play the next one. I'm always anxious to see how we respond this year after 32 wins and now after our first loss. So, you know, we've had some good work. Today was a really good workout, and we had some time off, and now we'll get ready to play.
Mentally right now we're focusing on 1 week at a time. We can't look to the national championship game. You have to take it step by step, and I think for us right now we're focusing on Nicholls State and then whoever we're going to play on Monday. But right now we're just focusing on fixing the problems that we had in the SEC championship, because that's what's going to boost us forward in this next tournament.
A reminder, the Starkville Regional is sold out, so you cannot get tickets through the MSU Athletic Ticket Office. Either go through StubHub or Scalp. Bulldogs will play at 5 p.m. against Nicholls on Saturday. The Monday game time will be determined after the Saturday games. If you can't get to the hump to watch the games, they will be broadcasted on ESPN2 locally. Well, if you haven't had a chance to fill out your brackets, it's my gift to you every single year at this time of year in March. It's my bracket tips. We went through the first two. Don't pick the 16 seeds and pick a first 14 to the round of 32. My third tip, believe in the Blue Bloods. 13 of the last 14 national champs had blue as one of their major colors. That only school was Louisville, and that title was vacated, so technically all 13 have won titles. North Carolina, Villanova, Duke, Kansas, UConn, Florida, Kentucky have all won national titles. So just something to keep an eye on and be aware of. More bracket tips coming up tomorrow. NFL free agency moves are coming. Drew Brees will stay in New Orleans, signing a 2-year deal worth $50 million. This will keep Brees with the Saints until he's 41 years old. The Saints did not get Jimmy Graham. He's going to the Packers. And former Rebel Dante Moncrief, he's headed for greener pastures. Moncrief will stay within the AFC South. He will sign with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Moncrief's production dipped the last 2 seasons due to shoulder and knee injuries, but he caught 96 passes his first 2 years in Indy. He's got plenty of potential left in his career. Vicksburg native Malcolm Butler will be moving closer to home. The star corner is set to sign a 5-year deal worth more than $61 million with the Tennessee Titans. According to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network, Butler will join new head coach Mike Vrabel. Dion Lewis also coming from the Patriots to the Titans, according to a report. So Tennessee loading up on some former New England Patriots players. To some scores from tonight. Yeah, gotta get it all out. Ole Miss playing Georgia State. Rebels let the bases get loaded in the 9th, and then you bring on Dallas Woolfolk, and he pitches them out of a jam, gets a 3-2-3 double play to win it. So the Rebels now 16-1 overall as they win 5-3. They will be back in action tomorrow in Atlanta. And how about the Bully Bombers at Mississippi State? Van Studeman now 22-3 overall. They crushed Samford in 5 innings. MSU's ranked 21st in one top 25 poll and 20th in another poll. So right now our teams on the diamond looking pretty good at Mississippi State and Ole Miss. Now, Mississippi State baseball, they will host Vanderbilt this weekend at the new Dude. Ole Miss will host Tennessee to kick off SEC play, and also softball kicking off our continuing SEC play coming up this weekend. That is it for sports. We will get a last look at your forecast when we come back.
Plenty of sunshine, not only tomorrow, but into Thursday as well. Thursday going to be a very nice day. We'll be up near 70, plenty of sunshine.
My kind of weather. Oh, man.
And then we'll get some rain, but we'll also stay nice and warm, at least in the near future, for Friday through Monday. But we will continue to have that chance for rain, and then we kind of go back to normal right in time for spring.
Look, the rain will hold off on the weekend, though. Just give me Saturday and Sunday.
I'll try and do it
fine.
again.
Thanks, Amanda. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.